today is Paul Barrett, the CEO of Rome Resources, following the publication of the anticipated mineral resource estimate. Well, Paul, thank you very much for joining us. We've been looking forward to this. How are things, first of all?
A pleasure, Mark. Yeah, very good, thanks.
Good. So let's look at this MRE then. First of all, from your point of view, the point of view of the team, how is it looking? Is it looking like it's in line with your expectations?
It's definitely in line. The results are based on, as we know, a number of shallow drill holes. So there is a geological model. It's based on the read through from Alphamin next door. It's looking like it's a very strong analog, and so therefore, we're not surprised by what we've seen, and it's going to drive our next phase of drilling to go deeper and to go into wider intercepts.
Excellent. So you say you've got the geological model. There's this slide. Obviously, this is a simpler way, let's say, of viewing it. Yes, but does this sort of show the geological model in a roundabout way?
Yes, it's as you say, it's very simplified. But essentially, it's a section running from southwest to northeast through Montagoma, where we have the main zone that we've been drilling for the most part, which is 200 meter wide. It's copper, zinc, and tin. It's a complex polymetallic zone. And then we identified a fault that separates that from another predominantly tin zone that we've identified to the northeast. And the model is essentially of one of tin increasing both in intercept width and in grade, going down deeper into the system. And that section on the right is the equivalent through Alphamin's Busy mine. And so you can see very clearly that in the shallow section, in the top 100, 200 meters, there's a very skinny, and that thickens up, and the grades improve tremendously going down. So what we've done is we've drilled on average 220, 250 meters into this sequence. I mean, we've got a long way to go, and the next drilling plans are to take it down to 450,
okay,
or maybe 500. So yeah, it shows that the geological model, as proven at Alphamin, which we see here, is to go deeper into higher grades and thicker intercepts, wider intercepts.
Okay, so we can see quite clearly there. I want to call that the tin sort of pipes. I don't know if that's the right phrase to use, but it's coming up to surface there. But yeah, it's originating from lower down, whereas the copper seems to be already deposited higher up.
Yes, so the tin is, in terms of its chemistry, it's deposited, or it comes out of solution at higher temperatures, so closer to the granite, i.e. deeper.
Okay.
And the copper sulfides, which is a different phase really, but that comes out at lower temperatures, shallower. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the sort of dashed box, sort of the top one, there's where you've gone down to effectively, and the second one is where you want to go. Okay, so that's when you really get into thick tin mineralization.
Yes, and also the eastern zone there, we've only got effectively one intercept of it at near surface. So there's a lot to be done there in terms of chasing that deeper.
Okay, I know you draw parallels, of course, with Alphamin's BZ project, which is, of course, where a lot of the team of Rome have actually sort of come from. That makes perfect sense. It's on the same sort of ground, the same geology is there. But you also, I noticed in this slide, you're talking about Cornwall, and you also talk about Peru a lot, don't you, as well? So I wonder if you can perhaps I've not heard of Cornwall before referred to in this. So again, are those two very similar sort of geological deposits?
So tin granite, so there's a lot of different kind of genetic tin deposits, but what we're talking about here are mineralized fluids sourced from tin granite, and that's what you see in Cornwall, and that's what you see in Peru, and you get that same zonation. So you get copper near surface grading into tin, and you see that in San Rafael, you see that in most of the Cornish tin mines. So it's a very, very well documented process.
Okay. And this is just Montagoma, isn't it? Of course, Kalai, which is included as well. Is that the inverse? The tin is higher at the surface?
The tin is higher at the surface. You could look at, I guess you could say that the analog is that you've eroded off the copper, and so that's no longer there. It may never have been there, but it's not there. And so you're already down into that. So Kalai is giving us higher grades, 1.5%, on average for the MRE than Montagoma. And but the rationale, the reason for that is the fact that in Montagoma was still higher in the system. So Kalai, yes, is pure tin and it's a bit higher grade. There is again still quite a lot of potential going deeper to increase those intercepts, and that's what the Kalai next step of work is going to be.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. So I did just run some very simple maths. I just want to sort of run it by you, just based on what's in the MRE there. So tin at 10.6 thousand tons. We've got a spot price sort of roughly today around $36,200 per ton. So that's sort of giving an in-situ value for the tin of about 383 million US dollars. And then the copper, 46.9 thousand tons, but at 1100 spot price gives you an in-situ value of 520 million. So a total there of about 900 million, not including, of course, the zinc and the silver credits, which I think would put you well over into the billions. So, I mean, I know that's very simple maths. It's only an in-situ value, but does that sound about right?
Well, it certainly sounds. Yeah, I mean, yes. I mean, the maths is right. The situation with, as I say, we keep harking to Alphamin, but they are a big producer right next door, and so there's a lot of data from that, and so their producing costs are around about $15,000 a ton. So their margin at 35 is over 50%. So you could discount that number by 50% and still be, still have a reasonable view of what the overall value could be. But this is, as I kind of said previously, this is scratching the surface of what the potential is. So we get to deeper, higher grade, wider intercepts that can be underground, just like Alphamin. That's a game changer again, in terms of value.
Yeah, and I know you put in the RNS there about, I guess we could call an exploration target, I guess, of 102 to 260,000 tons of tin. That's an exploration, that's what you would like to hit.
That's right. So you have, for example, we have 6 exploration targets that we've worked up, one of which is clear. We talked about the northeast zone at Montagoma. The other one at Montagoma is really looking at the deeper western tin zone. And then in Kalaya, we're chasing the undrilled portion of the tin geochemical anomaly, as well as going deeper. So there's a lot of different, as I say, 6 different exploration targets. So they may not all come in, but as a portfolio, they look as though they will give us a really big number to advance the project. Yeah.
Excellent. Good. And just thinking about Alphamin, which of course is extremely well advanced and developed, it's in production. Where do you compare to them in terms of, on the exploration journey, in terms of proving up more of the resource, the drilling that you've done, or the economics that you've worked on, which I know is very early stage? Is there a lot more work to be doing to effectively catch up to where stage Alphamin are at?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we've always been a few years behind Alphamin. When you look at their 2022 report, resource update, you're looking at about 120 boreholes, 35,000 meters of drilling. So, that's not an order of magnitude more than what we've done, but it's 5 times more. So I think there is exactly a lot of work to do to get there. But with a few holes, good intercepts, etc., somebody can come in and see that potential. We didn't necessarily have to drill all those holes ourselves. We have to convince someone that it's there from what we do.
Well, that is important, isn't it? And I wonder if this MRE does indeed do that. You've said in the RNS that the company will continue to engage with potential strategic partners to support future project development. So it does sort of suggest that, yes, the MRE will attract interest and you are open to interest, but I don't know if you can give any more on that and what that might look like.
Well, we don't know. I mean, these discussions, as you say, with one clearly pretty obvious party, but then other operators in the region, international mining operators. So, yes, there's quite a few of those discussions going on in the background, and it's likely that we will bring someone in to help us with the volume of drilling that will have to be done once we get the exploration targets defined, or not defined, but drilled up.
Okay, so could you speculate on what that could be? A joint venture or an offtake agreement with someone, or?
Yes, it could be either, or it could be some combination.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. And I think you're also are you in discussions regarding potential acquisitions to increase your actual ownership of the project as well?
Yes, we flagged that in the RTO, in the admission document, rather, that we had some option agreements with the owners. There's been some change of ownership around some of those third-party interests in the licenses, but so we're now talking to the new owners and trying to get that squared away. I think it simplifies the situation, and also hopefully we'll get to 80% interest. And I suspect that might be a predominantly equity deal, so it won't affect our cash too much.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. So all in all, then the MRE is looking pretty good for this early stage. That's fair to say, I guess. We don't have any sort of economics yet because we're too early on that. That'll come in later studies. But I did notice that $90, that was like, was that what would come back? It's a very rough number, wasn't it, I think?
It's really a sense test that MSA used. Ordinarily, you'd think, in terms of exploration resources, usually the number of tons you have in the ground. But in this case, they looked at a design for a pit and then going underground. So there was a bit of economic input. Of course, we have Alphamin data, so we could do that. And that's passed that sense check, even with the shallow drilling that we've done to date. So increasing the volumes would clearly give us an economically viable project.
Okay. So is it fair to say, all in all, you're pretty happy, the team are pretty happy, there's still work to do, but very happy at this stage?
Yes, that's right. I mean, there is a lot of work to do, and hopefully the helicopter's back soon and we can get on with it.
Okay. Excellent. Well, Paul Barrett, CEO of Rome Resources, thank you very much for your time today.
My pleasure. Thanks.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.